right now I'm stuck with my YouTube channel, right? So I got my YouTube channel out, and it's all about dash cams, how to install dash cams and all that. And I just recently got over 4,000 subscribers, but I'm like dead on my tracks.
Yeah.
Like, I have no ambitions to do anything on my channel. I don't want to do any videos. I don't want to research any videos. Research anything for my channel. Like, I just lost all the passion to do my channel.
Yeah.
So, and I've been thinking about this, like, man, I'm not motivated. I think even before a Christmas break. So since December, the start of December, like, I lost everything. Like, I don't want to touch the channel. I just lost any ambition I had for the channel.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I've been stuck at.
Right.
And so I was thinking either just to bite the bullet, get into it, or just start a whole new channel all completely.
But why do you think you've lost your motivation for that? Is it because it's no longer interests you or piques your interest, or you're bored with it?
I think I'm just, I think I don't have motivation to do much at all right now. Like, there's barely, and the only motivation I have is, of course, to go to a bar and have fun, or to go play pool with my wife or something. But that's pretty much it. I mean, everything else is just not. I don't. Even at work, when we have some off time, like we could work on some stuff. I don't feel like a need to do that at all.
And I remember before, you used to take advantage of all that time, and you would promote, or you would further your channel, your brand for that channel. And so, that's quite a difference. And I mean, I've been there. Sometimes we get to a point in our life where we're just, what now? And it could be, we have a lot of things that run in our family, and maybe this is just one of the things that just is, it got a hold of you,
Yeah, I mean, of course, we had Ray that passed away in November, and it was right after that. But then, there's some things that happen in your home and stuff, personal life, that just kind of dragged you down, and it dragged me down. But ever since then, I've just been trying to fight to get through it. Now, honestly, like, I finally realized, okay, well, it's something wrong with me.
Right.
Either it's depression or sadness or whatever it is, So I've been trying to acknowledge it and see what I could do. And I looked at some YouTube videos and about self-help and so forth. And some of them just said, just do it. That's just like a Nike phrase, just do it, or start small or something. So I told myself I was going to start small. But I also told myself, just start something completely new.
Different.
So maybe that will pique my interest and so forth. But the channel, the dash cam, is my money maker. That's, making me money.
Right.
So I could continue doing more of this, either podcasting or more YouTube stuff. So I got to get in it. I'm losing about $200 a month since I
stopped.
Stopped completely.
Yeah.
So it's still making me money, but I'm losing money.
Right.
So I like the money, but I want to get into it. But so I keep telling myself to start something small. So I started scripting. So scripting is when you find a product you want, because I have several companies asking me to do some dash cam reviews. So I got 2 right now that I told them yes, which took me a lot to tell me yes. I actually told them it would take me 2 or 3 weeks because I'm working on other projects, which I'm not.
Right.
But just to stall and say, well, no, we're not going to do it. And they said yes. I'm like,
Yeah.
So those, I'm forcing myself to start a script right there.
Right.
And to start it. And actually, I am supposed to be working on one since January 7th, and it's already February 11th. And I haven't even... I started about halfway, but I just don't want to finish it. It's just like there's something in me that just doesn't want to move on from there with the channel.
Well, I mean, 2 thoughts about that, or at least one. The fact that you want to move on to something else, that is, that's an option. However, that leads me to think that the underlying problem is still going to be there, and you'll treat that new thing as you did the other, and maybe get bored or tired or lose your motivation for it instead of fixing the underlying problem. I know that I've had that. I'm I've experienced that before where you're just stuck mentally. And I know for my family, depression, anxiety runs in my family. So after my mom passed, I got myself checked out and realized, okay, you also have depression, anxiety, so let's treat it. And it answered a lot of things for me. It's helped me, but still, the the journey is not always perfect once you get medication or anything like that. You still like I'm at a different time in my life now where I hit another woman problem, and so now that's affecting my, my
Yeah.
anxiety and everything. So you have to reassess everything, and sometimes the motivation to do that is not there because you're stuck. You're in this hole, and you're trying to get out, and it's hard. Um, and yes, I turn to my faith, but it takes a while, and you can asking for help is not so easy, but when you do, you also have to tell the person how to help you. So that's also like another like, do I want to do that? And you have to humble yourself because if it gets to where you can't help yourself, then you have to go that route. Um, and we don't even want to entertain the alternative. So yeah, so you have to ask yourself, have I tried all these self-help things? Has it worked? Am I feeling better? If not, maybe you do need to see the doctor. Maybe you do need to either get in touch with your faith more or, again, there's so many
Yeah.
things.
Because I know my wife asks me sometimes, she goes, hey, are you okay? And I go, I'm okay. And she knows something's wrong. She goes, I'm okay. Like one day I came home from work, and when I come in here and I turn my YouTube on and I start listening to music, I get the whiskey out and and I turn the lights off and I'm in here, and she knows, okay, well, he's going through his thing. Just give him his space and all that. Then the next day, the same. I not listen to music, but I'm just shut down. I'm quiet. I don't say much. I go through the the motions of life, whatever you got to do with daily activities. And she's, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm not, but that's what men do. Like I would just, or whatever people
Push
do. They
through.
just like, yeah, we'll get through it,
Yeah.
whatever. But then after about a couple of days, it just wears off, and okay, finally I'm back to normal and all that. But it just those days and so forth, it just drags you down, especially when you tell yourself, well, maybe I'll start something today, what I wanted to do from like the channel or something. But then you get that cycle again, and it just drags you back down to where you're not happy. You're not fine when they say you are, but then you don't want to say it because yeah, you're showing it, but you don't want to bring anybody down with you too. Well, for me, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are just too busy to really help you. They got their own things in life, and you could see they're busy. So you're like, nah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, that's where I think that um, when I say we, because I too sometimes feel the same way, but those are the people around you that will help you. Who else will do that, And that is your family. So, yes, we don't want to drag them down or anything like that, but those are the people we're supposed to turn to. And so, another thing is that, that I've tried to do for myself is fine. If you're feeling like unmotivated, tell yourself, okay, and it's a lot of self-talking, give yourself a day. Tomorrow at this time, put an alarm, do something, just do something. I've done that with stuff I've had in my room, whether it be laundry or, craft stuff that I took to the retreat. I said, okay, I see it. I'm not going to let it like get all up in my head. I'll do it tomorrow. So I'll put an alarm as a reminder tomorrow. And at least what I'll do is I'll get 1 or 2 boxes or reorganize my stuff and put it away. And there might be still some left, but at least I did something, So give yourself that time to be whatever, checked out, whatever. But then also tell yourself, okay, you have this day to do that. Then next day, you've got to.
Yeah, because I've done that. I got my planner and I got computer planning. And I put, okay, I got to work at least on this. I'm going to start this. And then the next day I'll start this. And the next day I start that. Well, then the next one day goes, I didn't do it, or then I make excuses, or I add some stuff on my list so I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Or it pushes it behind because this is more important.
Yeah.
And it really isn't, but in my mind at that time,
you're manipulating yourself.
Yes.
You're manipulating yourself to not do it, not do anything.
And then later on, I'm like, I should have just worked on it. Or even right now, I should say, man, I should have started something. But honestly, I tell myself, you know what? I am going to finish this video. And I made it a point to try to finish this video. But honestly, stuff happened.
Right.
You know, the weekend before and then this past weekend, it was all cluster. All right. So I'll go, okay, well, how about this weekend? Well, this weekend we got all kinds of stuff going on too. But I think in the morning, the afternoon, there's going to be some
time for you to do it.
So I'm telling myself, I'm forcing myself, and I'm scheduling, like you said, the time to do it. So let's see if I am able to, like if my mind tells me to do it.
And at least you don't have to tell yourself you don't have to finish it. Work on it for an hour and be done. Or if you think you can work 30 more minutes, work 30 more minutes. And that's something that the therapist, after Mom passed away, when I was going to a therapist, because it was just overwhelming, and Mom was sick. Mom had passed away. Dad is sick, and other people had passed away, and trying to get through these days, trying to make sure the kids are okay and not end up hating God or anything. It's just overwhelming. And so I remember my therapist said, when you can't take, one day at a time, take an hour at a time. And when you can't take an hour at a time, take 1 minute at a time. And
I get that.
Thought about that. And it's true, because there's some times where I feel overwhelmed and I'm just like, okay, all right, well, let me take 5 minutes at a time, and I'll set my alarm. I'll set my alarm, and I'll just either, play a game on my phone or just sit there and listen to music or something. 5 minutes will go off. And then pretty soon you won't have to set your alarm, or you won't have to think about the time,
I think every day you just.
Yeah, you just do that. But again, depending, my faith has come into it where I rely on God, and that has got me through everything. So, I know not everybody is that way, but that has a lot to do with it. He has gotten me through a lot of things. And I think the community I built with church and my sisters in Christ have helped a lot. And because it's almost like a little support group, you're not alone. We're all women. We can talk to each other, and there's always instant support. So that's why it's also important when you are active and motivated to try to get a community of something or some people. I have my community at church. If you have your community of friends, that do online stuff, or
I get what you say.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Have a community, and that could be your little support. To just say, hey, oh yeah, when you're not feeling down, if you don't want to be in that hole, hey, what are you doing? Okay, cool. Just talk for 5 minutes and then hang up. You know what I mean? Like, I've done that before. I've left work, and I'll just look at my phone. Okay, who have I talked to? And I'll just call and just have a conversation, 5 minutes, and that's it. Because I can feel myself withdrawing.
Yeah, because see, I'm usually the one that's the motivator for my kids and other people. Mm-hmm. Like my daughter was schooling, and I tell her, every day you're in that room, mm-hmm. There's days that are passing, time's not going to wait for you. Mm-hmm. The longer you put your schooling off, the more you're going to regret your choices that mm-hmm. you waited so long. The world's not going to stop for you.
Right.
Life's not going to wait for you either. It's going to keep it going. And just like my son too, motivating him, to start your career, you're 18, mm-hmm. Start putting into work where it pays off in the future. Like, I'm always the one doing that. And I know myself that I need to do certain things. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, I need to get out there and do things. But when I'm telling myself this, because I know all these thoughts and I know what everything needs to do, but sometimes you just don't do it. So because I started researching this stuff, because I really I listen to a lot of podcasts and mm-hmm. videos and stuff. So, because I always research stuff on YouTube, and I came across some, and So these are some things that I saw, and
Okay.
I want to see if me and you could probably put these together or break these down. So the first one it had was awareness and mindfulness, which is recognize your emotion as they arise. Instead of reacting immediately, take a moment to observe them. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling this way? And that's something you told me a little while ago about what is the underlying source.
Mm-hmm.
You could do something, but then is that going to be there?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I don't know. I don't know if it's just this time of the year, maybe, or it's circumstances that had happened that has brought me like this. And then, okay, I know that, I know I'm feeling this way, and I know I need to get out of this way because it's holding me back on stuff I want to do. It's like you're hostage on your emotions right there,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to break free.
Right.
The next one is acceptance. Instead of surprising emotions, allow yourself to feel free with them. It's okay to be sad, angry, or anxious. The key is not staying stuck in that emotion. And that's where I'm at. I need to get away from that. Don't be, stuck.
But it's hard. I mean, I can tell you right now, depression, there is absolutely, there could be so there could be an underlying reason. There could be, like you said, circumstances, or there couldn't be. And the couldn't be is absolutely 100% factual, and absolutely of you do not know what it is. That is a real thing. Depression is you don't know your mind, but it's your mind. It's your mind that is not allowing you to have this motivation, have your dopamine, fix. It is a medical diagnosis, depression. So, you can't beat yourself up if you don't know what it is, because it could be, and we're all getting older. Our body changes. Good Lord, we have plenty of examples in our family of how fucked up we could be, so, that has to be a possibility, so whether or not you want to entertain medication or not, that is totally up to you. I think it'll be at a point where you're like, okay, I've done all these things, XYZ. I'm still kind of like in the same, I'm getting some results, but I'm still back in the same place. Okay, let me try this option. Because there is no magical anything. It doesn't make sense. Depression doesn't make sense as far as logical thinking. It just doesn't. It just does not. So, you've got to figure out, again, you don't know for sure if it's something or if it's nothing.
So right now then, according to this, it says now is to reframe your thoughts. Instead of thinking I'm overwhelmed, try I'm feeling overwhelmed, and that's okay. What small step can I take right now? And of course, challenge your negative thoughts. Instead of thinking I'll fail if I try that, or shift to even if I fail, I'm learning something valuable. Kind of like what you were saying about small steps and doing stuff like that. And honestly, like I said, when I motivate other people, well, I give them pep talks. I get pep talks to people about when they're stuck, like to move forward. And it's always, it all falls to myself. It's up to me to get out of this. It's up to me to take the first step. It's up to me to just push through, Nothing else is going to change unless I change. And let's change my thought process and change all that. But see, I know all that stuff, but I still get stuck sometimes.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to tell you, because this is what the doctor told Anna, because I had Anna go with me to the doctor one day because she could not understand. She goes, Mom, Dad, the kids, you are a fierce advocate for anyone. You fought for Mom. You fought for Dad. You were at the hospital every day. You took all that, right? I was there. But when it comes to myself, I cannot apply the same principles to myself. There's something that happens. And the doctor told my sister that she can do all that for everybody else. The same things that she needs to do for herself, that she does for everybody else. When it comes to her, the one part of the brain just switches, and I can't. I can't. I know what I have to do. I know the steps I need to take, but I can't. I just can't. And I think those intangible things, to someone who doesn't understand depression, it's hard for people to understand unless a doctor's telling you out of their own mouth.
So what steps did they give, any steps to try to help to overcome it?
Mine was medication therapy and talk therapy.
Shock therapy?
No, not shock therapy. Although that could have worked.
Right.
But no, just getting my frame of mind where I'm not feeling so low, where I'm feeling where I can, any some type of motivation and whatever. And I remember after mom passed and I was going through that period of trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And I remember days where I had to just like, okay, I have to change. I have to just change my clothes. That was one thing. That was a big step for me. I changed my clothes. Get up, change your clothes, brush your teeth, wash your face, look presentable. Okay. And then I was proud of those little things because I was getting things done, but it could be little things like that you're just slowly trying to get to a point where.
So, but when you got the medication, how did that work out?
It's getting medication. Getting medication isn't an instant fix. It could be the wrong one for you. The side effects could be too overwhelming where it's not going to work for you. So it's a lot of trial and error. But once I had the medication, I was able to not feel like I was always in despair. I felt an optimistic outlook. I felt a little motivation. And so when I would find that little motivation, I would try to take it and run with it and do what I needed to do or whatever. And that's what the medication does for me. The antidepressant helps you not be depressed, meaning feeling those thoughts of despair.
Now, even with the medication, do you still find your time at times where
yes,
it's like, man, I'm in a rut. I'm back in a rut.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do.
Now, is it because you stopped taking medication or
no? And it's not. And I'm not in the same rut. I'm not in a deep hole. I'm just in a rut. Like I'm not in the hole. I'm just in a little dip. But I don't stay there very long at all. Like it's an hour or two or even half a day.
Okay.
So it helps. And I found things that help redirect my brain. I have tools that I've created. Like if I'm in a bad place or things are not favorable that are going in my life, I know I can go to a thrift store, and just sit there and just go through racks of stuff and just.
Oh yeah, because you're a thrifter.
Yeah, I'm a thrifter, so I can just go through racks, and then just the repetitive motion of just hitting these clothing hangers, like it takes my brain out of it. Listening to music, going out to the parks, going near water, all these things help me re-energize or refocus my energy. So. Those are the things that I know that help me. Taking a drive, just
So all that just get something you like and something to get you out of that.
Yes, the things that I know that will get me out. Go to church, those things I know that will get me out. And there's lots of times where I just sit and pray and pray and pray. And
has anybody told you about journalism, like journaling or something like that? Because I see that a lot, and I see people saying, "Oh, I journal because it helps me express stuff."
Yes, I used to journal, when I was in 20s, early 30s. But to me, I didn't want to relive all the bad stuff, or I didn't want to that's why I don't journal. You know what I mean? Because you experience it and I don't want to retell it. Like I don't want to relive it. I think the instinct is not to relive it. However, you're not supposed to hide from it and journaling, whatever. But I'm choosing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. The thoughts are in my head, and I rather work them out either through talk therapy or just prayer. Because I've gone through my mom's journals and stuff, and they're painful. And
so your mom journaled.
My mom journaled, she journaled, I wouldn't say consistently, but often. And so I have all her journals, and I don't want to, I don't want my daughter or my son to go through those things and see and hurt for me later. I just don't want that.
Yeah, I get that. I'm sure that could be tough.
Yeah.
Going through all that.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I like for me is like I can't stop. I can't slow down because we all got jobs, we all got responsibilities, and we got to get up in the morning. So like even that, like I can't just stop. Some people go, I didn't get up for days. I'm like, well, I wish, but like I don't want to get up, but I have to because I got responsibilities. And in your back of your mind will just want to just say, fuck it all. Like, I'm not going to want to get up, fuck work, and I'm not going to go to work. But then reality comes back. You got to go to work. You got to go pick up the kid. You got to go to the whatever, another job or something. So, so that's kind of one of the things that keeps me going is knowing that I can't stop. I got responsibilities and I can't afford to do that, So, of course, my wife don't let me retire. I want to retire when I was 50, but she doesn't let me. So I'm like, I want to stay home, but she doesn't. But even right now, like I'm always been a person that just, if I had to do something, I would do it. I always push through, or sometimes I didn't think about anything, no negative thoughts, no nothing. It would just, okay, I have to do this and I got to do this next. And it was never nothing saying, well, maybe don't do it, or you sure you want to do that? It's going to take a little bit of time and all that. So that's why I was younger and I was always able to move up ahead in work, even transferring to different cities and something. It was never a problem for me because I'm like, okay, well, I got to do this. Then this is next. Okay, I would do it. And even starting my YouTube channel, it was like, well, I'm a little bit older. Should I start a YouTube channel? But I did it anyway, and it didn't stop me. And being in front of a camera like this is always somebody like, do you really want to do it? You want to hear yourself? But now I'm like I guess you call it a rut, where I'm like, I don't really want to. So what I told myself is I want to start keep the same channel, but go through something different. Like right now I got 2 watches on, I can do smart watches, Not everybody knows what to do with the smart watch because I'm always good at breaking stuff down for people. And so if somebody has a smart watch, well, there's hundreds of apps, hundreds of stuff. So I'm trying to do that, see if that drives my attention and see if I'm passionate enough to do it. I'm getting there. But at the same time, back in my mind is like, well, go back to that. Those thoughts in your head already are going back on me and saying, do you sure you want to start something different? What if nobody watches it? Kind of like all this stuff. Like I never had these thoughts before. And now all these things are like bringing me down or not, like keeping me from moving forward or keeping me from being more passionate than I was before. Driven there.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that pops in my head is that we're getting older. So the thoughts that were in the back of your head, the front thoughts were like, fuck off. Now we're getting older. Your front thoughts are like, I'm too tired. And here come the thoughts in the back like, hey. And they're like, I can't stop you anymore. You know what I mean? We're getting older. Things change. Your body, it happens. So that I would chalk it up to that. We just have to be, just like when you wear glasses and you need glasses, but you're squinting and you're focusing and you're refusing to get glasses, right? Then our muscles and our eyes can't focus anymore, so we need our glasses. The same thing, we're getting older, things are happening to us. So, it just is that much harder to do the things that we know we should do or that were working for us. And you have to seriously, start doing a pros and cons. Okay. This other channel, pro. Okay, what is the cons? Look at it. I'm a visual person. I do this all the time. Okay, does that outweigh this? What if I start this? Pro, con. Okay, how does it now? Let me look at it and see, visually.
Yeah.
You've got, give yourself those tools to look at. That way you don't give yourself a chance to like, oh, I just made a flippant decision and without even thinking about it. You know what I mean?
So this is my goal to our
Okay.
next podcast.
Okay.
I'm going to finish that video
Okay.
of that dash cam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm going to start. The first thing I'm going to do to YouTube video is script. I'm going to script the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my goal for the next. Thinking about that as we're sitting down here talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be my goal to do it because they're shipping me the products. It's in the mail. Like I know there's coming.
Yeah.
So I got to get ready for those. And usually I'm like pretty quick on
Yeah.
that. So those are my things.
Okay.
And see if that getting back into the routine.
Mm-hmm.
Does it flip that switch back and say, all right, now let's go like a train? And maybe these other new smartwatches might be something added on to it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and I think you're right on the money on, first of all, the backup cameras. I think that's genius. And the second, the watches, I don't have one. I'm not going to pretend I understand anything that's going on. So yes, there's a lot of people out there that would love to have, this is what your watch can do, all these things, but so, yeah, I think you're on the right track. So you have so by the next podcast, you're going to finish that video and then do the script, you said, right?
Yep, on the next one.
By the next, okay.
So that's what I'm doing. Now, on this thing I saw in the internet here,
Uh-huh.
the next thing is kind of like what you said, healthy outlets,
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about journaling, exercising, talking to a friend or loved one,
Mm-hmm.
and a way to express your emotions, constructively.
Mm-hmm.
One of my healthy things I'm walking now. I'm walking back again because I stopped and
Yeah.
I'm getting back into it, listening to some good stuff in my ears.
Mm-hmm.
The last one is seek professional help. So not going to do the last one yet. I'm going to see if I could get myself out of this route because ultimately it's my decision if I'm going to get out of this rut or not.
But sometimes we can't make that decision for ourselves. I mean, it's innately like when you've tried everything and it's not worked, guess what? You have to seek help. I mean, that's just as simple as that. I mean, and again, in how long are you going to hold out for a principle? You know what I mean? Because if you have legitimately tried everything, you kind of have your answer. Sometimes you have to just bite the bullet and try it. Then start. What did our grandpa boss was best at? That big ass holistic book. Start looking at ways that you can holistically treat yourself with herbs and vitamins and all this stuff. I mean, so you remind me of Grandpa. He was always researching something, always writing something down. I mean, that man was forever learning about something.
And that's without the internet.
Mm-hmm,
without the
internet.
The use of that. That was crazy.
Yes. So yes, you mean at some point you have to say, okay, I've tried everything. And then, go from there.
So right now for you,
Mm-hmm.
because you said you get into ruts at times,
Mm-hmm.
and faith is pretty much your thing to
Mm-hmm.
get you out in there
Mm-hmm.
to do that. So if someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm having trouble just, getting through the day of stuff, just getting through the day, not sure, it's hard for me to do things. I'm just not motivated to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Something that because you know me, but what about another person? What would you tell them?
And they were a faithful person? They believed in God?
You have no idea if they are or not.
Well, I mean, that's the first thing I would ask. If they believed in God, and if they did, then the first thing I would do is find them a couple of prayers and ask them to pray those prayers, let them know that I'm praying. And then depending on what exactly the situation is, if it means me texting them every hour, I will. Hey, thinking of you. I love you. Send them like a one or two, inspirational thought, and that's it. If I have to do that every hour for a day, I will. Do you want to get together? Do you want to just sit? I had one of my sisters in Christ. She made me laugh because I always thought this, but I didn't think anybody else thought this. But she's like, we need to get together. She goes, I don't care what we do. She goes, call me whenever, even if you just want me to sit there while you do laundry, or you sit here while I do laundry, or I'm washing dishes and you want somebody to sit there with you. She goes, just call me or I'll call you. And I'm like, yeah.
They want that companionship.
Yeah, just to have someone there. I mean, just sometimes, us being by ourselves or whatever, I'm a single mom. Well, my kids are old, so I'm half empty nester, but I got one that she's always out of the nest anyway. But, so it's just me, and so, there's a couple of times where I took her word on it. I went to her house and we did something and she came over and, it was just nothing, but it was just someone there, that you were able to talk to about whatever, so you got to have those outlets, but it's not perfect all the time. There's going to be times where you don't have people or you feel like you don't want to call anybody. And that's okay.
When I was doing my research, there were certain scenarios, about this, because there's also fear. Now, these are other emotions that kind of keep you trapped or hostage. Fear is another one. It's kind of like a silent person,
Mm-hmm.
Which is something for work. Like you want to ask for a raise, but your fear of rejection. So you never do, or you avoid a difficult conversation with your spouse or whoever to prevent an argument, and I can understand that because that's something like a lot of people do that with raises, like, I don't want to do that, or should I ask for that promotion or something, and then something like that for work, a lot of people have opinions, well, rather than going there and say, I want a raise, you say, well, this is what I've done, or this is what I could help you do more in your business, something like that. Mm-hmm. And there's always ways to try to get out of that. But avoiding difficult conversations with somebody you love to avoid an argument, that is something that's kind of difficult because you already in your mind, what they're going to say probably.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be different. Is this person hard to talk to, or is this person just difficult, or is it hard for you to have a conversation with that person?
Well, I think the fact that you just said that, you already know what they're going to say, that is already the wrong attitude to come at it, because I think in order to try to have a healthy conversation, you have to kind of leave those old thoughts away, because if you come into it already kind of biased, even though you're telling yourself you're not going to be, but you're thinking in your head, I already know what she's going to say, well, then forget it, because it's not going to turn out well. So you have to come at it with a positive way. I mean, you have to and just listen, not talk.
Don't judge.
Don't judge. And listen, and then try to communicate effectively. Now, I know this is hard for me because if it's somebody I love and somebody I care about and there's an issue or conflict, I get emotional. I'm an emotional person. And it's hard for me to control my emotions. And I'm not getting irate or anything, but I cry. And then I get a little, emotional. I cry and I'm emotional. My tone might go up or down, but it's hard for me to control my emotion. And I've learned that when I feel so strongly about it, I can't, it's hard for me to control. So a lot of times I do go to writing. Like I will write down what my feelings are, and I'll try to almost use it as notes, because that way.
Like a journal?
Yeah, like a journal. But just so I can know because I'll forget when I get emotional, I'll forget what the rational things that I want to say or the logical things I want to say. And I have to, have something that'll keep me on track. But yeah, I don't like confrontation.
Now, another one is anger and resentment. Like when you're still upset with a parent or sibling over something that happened years ago, but it keeps you from engaging in them. It doesn't have to be a sibling or parent. It could be a coworker. It could be a friend or something. And I'm sure that's something that has to do with a lot of things. Maybe, hold on. There's another one. It says, a past relationship that ended badly, but now you struggle to trust in new people. Now, I had some relationships that we just talked about trust issues and betrayal and all that, but I didn't let that linger on to the next person or the next coworker or the next employee or something. So I don't think, I think I'm pretty good with anger and resentment. Now, if somebody does cross me, like we said, betrayed, that person's dead to me.
Yeah.
That is it. Like there's nothing you could say or come back to that is person dead. Now, there's one that apologized and whatever, took accountable for whatever the action was. But I took that friend back. But we still don't even talk.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just, we talked for a little while, but the relationship wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And it just never talked to that person again.
Yeah.
We're Facebook friends, whatever that is.
Yeah,
but that's about it. Birthdays and stuff like that.
So, but there's no ill will, and that's okay. And that's great because you don't have anything that you're holding or anything like that.
And another one is guilt or shame. You made an error in the past and now hesitate to take on leadership roles. I guess this could be something like work or something. Or the parent feels guilty for working too much and not spending enough time with the kids. Now, that's something I've always had that because, and of course, when you're starting your work, your career, you're working a lot. I was constantly working. And of course, we were in a different city. And then even from the different city, I would travel South Texas and some other states. And so I was always gone. And then when I left that job and I got another job, I was still gone. I would leave 7 a.m. or 7 in the morning, get back by 8:30 and 9 p.m., So I was constantly gone. I got there, they were asleep. And when I woke up, they were asleep. I got home, they were still asleep, because they're kids. They were in bed. So when I came back to San Antonio, I made a decision okay, you know what? I'm not going to do a lot of work. So I kind of lowered my work and took pay cuts. So now I was able to see my kids grow up, help them in school, and always not rely on childcare or daycare or anything like that. Didn't have to ride buses because me and my wife were able to do that.
Yeah.
But that fell from the guilty of working too much. And I made a change for myself to want that. Now, financially, at times I'm like, man, maybe I should have stayed at work another 5 or 6 years, but I don't know how the relationship will be with my kids now.
Right.
Because we do have good relationships. Yes. And I see a lot of people who work too much that don't have the relationship and didn't see them until they were 17 or 18. And they're like, well, why you want to see me now? But they didn't. Of course, the kids don't understand that their parents were working.
Right.
So that was something I had to deal with, was that, feeling guilty. But even when I came back, I still had a second job at times and I had multiple jobs. Even when I was doing YouTube, I wasn't able to I had to say no a lot just to get ahead. But that is when I felt at times the guilt or shame on that. Anything on that part for you or any of the ones I said?
No, I don't think I ever felt any. Well, I can't remember and that's a thing about my defense mechanism is I tend to block out bad memories. So if it's too painful, I don't keep it. I don't keep it and I don't remember a lot of times, which is crazy.
Did you tell your therapist that?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of sessions on that, trying to get all that out.
Try to pull that out.
Yes. It's funny with me, though, because I tell my kids, because I don't remember a lot of stuff when I was younger. And especially some of the high school stuff that I heard that we did was fun and all that. But my friends tell me about them. I don't remember we did that.
Yeah.
I didn't remember we were in class together. And I'm like, well, I got a lot of new information, so I got to delete that. It's looping.
Yeah.
So all that old information is getting looped out. So they laugh at that. They go, I don't understand how you don't remember that. It's not important.
I don't know either.
Another one, of course, is anxiety. A lot of people feel, and it's a fear of failure that makes you hesitate to start new projects. Even with family, parents over worrying about their kids' future, leading to overprotectiveness, which I see a lot of parents do that. Personal life, you avoid new relationships because you have fear of getting hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not like that. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with any of those. The work, the failure makes you hesitate to start new projects. I think I always good with that. Now, the thing is, maybe anxiety is maybe from hesitate to continue the projects that I'm
that's
working
where you're on now.
Right there. And because again, it even says it whispers fears of failure, stop you from seizing opportunities, and you can make everyday tasks feel like monumental challenges, And that's kind of like the little voices I was saying, like, you sure you want to do that? You don't really have to do that. You don't worry about it. You know, maybe this is, again, some of the anxiety that's keeping me from doing that, you know?
Yeah.
So just reading that, you know, I'm my own therapist.
Yeah.
I can't prescribe myself stuff, but.
Well, so what that reminds me of course, back when I was in my 20s or out of high school, I dated someone and we lived together. And I remember I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD or anything at that time, but I remember I had a planner, and this planner had everything that I did, every schedule, everything. And I always had it with me, and you couldn't. And it was a thick one, and it was, a small one, but it was a thick one. And I remember my boyfriend at the time, he would ask me things, and I would, hold on, I have to look at my planner. I mean, simple things. And he would get so frustrated. I think one day he told me, throw it away. Like, this dictates your life, and I was afraid. I was afraid of forgetting things. I was afraid of of forgetting, not going to an appointment or whatever. And so that was, I think, my anxiety of all those things, trying to remember everything, trying to remember life. That was my life. Everything was in there. And I couldn't deal with it. And again, I wasn't diagnosed with depression, anxiety until in my 40s, because that's after my mom passed away. So I had no clue what was going on in my head. And in looking back after being diagnosed with depression, anxiety, ADHD, it affected my life. It affected relationships. It affected a lot of things in my life.
Did you throw away the planner?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes, wow. But it was...
How
I was
hard
miserable.
was it?
No, I was miserable. Like, I was miserable. I was miserable. But not knowing what these things were that were happening to me, because, our parents' generation didn't talk about that. They didn't get help for that. Nobody, it's not like it was plastered all over the place now, that it's okay to talk about it. I had no idea. And so looking back, it affected me, affected my life. It affected relationships, and it affected the way I learned, and it affected what I did. And at first I was mad at my parents, because I'm like, there were so many things that happened to me that I could have not suffered through. But again, then I had to realize, well, they themselves didn't know. They themselves didn't know to test your kid, or, nobody knew.
Yeah,
so.
There wasn't really, like, now schools have all these setups for all that and all that.
Yes.
Now there's process to get you into that.
Yes.
Of course, right now it's overused.
Yes.
And somehow everybody has depression. Yeah. Everybody has anxiety. Everybody has ADHD. Like, everybody's this now, but a lot of those are used as an excuse,
right? Instead of a tool.
It's a use to get out of stuff.
Yes.
Used to, again, excuse to do what you're doing.
Yes.
Knowing that you don't.
Yes. Or it's not that bad. But again, only looking back after all this time, and I'm thinking, God, I said, so many things could have been different in my life. And I can't fault my parents, because the time that they grew up, that wasn't something that was talked about. So, but yeah, it's anxiety was definitely a part of my life back then, and I didn't.
So, but going back to that probably was in the 90s, right?
Uh-huh.
And 90s was real big on those planners, those daily planners, monthly planners.
Yes.
Because that was your cell phone of keeping all your information.
True, right? Yes.
Because that was everything in there.
That was everything.
Because it had your daily, monthly stuff, what you would do, activities,
phone
or
numbers,
contacts.
Contacts.
Contacts was in there.
Oh my God! Yes, everything.
Notepad was in there. Everything.
Everything.
And that was a real big tool that people had, and I had one of those several times because I was constantly going places, so I had to make sure things were done. But yeah, those things were pretty big, and it was a necessary tool. And then it became to those Palm Pilots, if you remember those.
Yeah, Palm Pilot.
And I had several styles of those because where I worked, I got those for free.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was able to get
Yeah.
everything I had was free to get me tools that I needed.
Right.
So I took advantage of all that.
Yes.
But I really wish those Palm Pilots would last a little bit longer, but they just faded out
Yeah.
quick. Even before the cell phone
The
came
cell
out.
phone.
Can
That's
you believe
true.
that? The cell phone came out?
When did the cell phone come out?
Oh, man. It had to be in the mid-90s, I think, when it really became started to be a tool. Because I remember I was in the 97 and we had the flip phones and they said text came out and where you could do this text. And I remember me and my wife on the phone and I was traveling somewhere and I'm like, they had this thing about text now you could do with your cell phone. So you could just send your message. And I'm like, why would you need to send a message? Just call somebody. Just pick up the phone. Hey, I'm going to be over here. Okay, bye. Now I hate phone calls. I don't like phone calls. I'd rather have a text or something.
Yeah.
It's funny how all that has changed.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I remember those organizers back in the 90s to do that.
And back then, my anxiety, I was that girlfriend that, if she's not happy, then nobody's going to be happy, or if she's not happy, then it's going to be like Debbie Downer, whatever. And it was my anxiety, like looking back, and I feel so bad. And I always think about, man, I need to send my ex-boyfriend an apology letter for all the things, because even though I didn't know what was going on with me or how to manage it, now that I know, I feel bad. I feel bad, and I just feel bad.
So does that go back to, where was this one? Guilt or shame or something?
Guilt.
Resentment.
Definitely guilt. I feel a little guilty, but I mean.
But it doesn't keep you from your next relationship.
No,
right?
It doesn't keep me from my next relationship. No, because I am so much in a better place in my life. And I mean, I've got my shit together for the most part. For the most part.
This is Unfiltered Circle, and I'm James.
I'm Sandra.
And we're here just talking about our everyday lives, and we want to keep you in the conversation. So which emotions are holding you back? Let's start that conversation with you. Leave a comment or reach out to us on our social media, which will be getting out soon. And go ahead and hit that like button, and always subscribe to this channel, and we could give you more content like this.
Sounds good.
All right, to the next one.